till about 2000, even after losing Shubho, Ma remained silent. She did not speak a word. What was the trigger? Was it Panditji's biography Ragmala, in which he mentioned a lot of things? Or was it that interview with Paranjay Guha Thakur which he did on Doordarshan? What was the trigger that she broke her silence?
She didn't break her silence. It was us. You remember? How much we had to brainwash her that there are versions out of versions against her, all false by Panditji. There is not one word from Baba, Ali Akbar Khan, Ma, Shubho, Ashishta, nobody. There is no version, authentic version of her side of the story.
Indira ji came to our house
Yeah, she came
and offered her the Padma Bhushan and asked her, what do you think of the emergency? And Ma on her face told her, I don't understand much of politics, but what you did was wrong.
Yes. She told her on her face. During emergency, how many Indians had the guts to tell Indira ji on her face that what you have done is wrong?
I mean, we talk about the film Abhiman being made on her story. How did Ma know Rishikesh Mukherjee?
At Pavlova, when Panditji and Ma were together, Panditji gave music in two films in those days, Godan and Anuradha. Anuradha was the produced and directed by Rishikesh Mukherjee. So Rishikesh Mukherjee used to come to Pavlova and visit. Rishikesh Mukherjee already knew Ma, already knew Panditji, and he could see what was happening in the house. And
right.
See, they were the most talked about couple in those days.
So Shubho ko Pandit ji apne saath US leke gए.
First Banaras and then USA, meaning immediately didn't take him to Banaras, USA. They were in Banaras for a month or two and then they went to USA.
And then again conferences, maybe when Shubho was playing with him, again Shubho's microphones were also turned down. Pandit ji was using superior quality microphones and Shubho inferior quality microphones.
See, बात सिर्फ माइक्रोफोन की नहीं थी. It was much more than microphone.
Okay.
Shubho has written in his letters to Ma, and he is rude against, his complaints against Ashish, the same age, and साथ में सीखते थे. That Pandit ji would say कि चलो आज रात को हम लोग मारवा बजाएंगे. Okay? Today's concert, you are with me. So whole day, meaning for the 2 days, he would practice Marwa till he goes on the stage. And on the stage, Pandit ji would announce some absolutely weird rag. He was new, he was young, he knew only limited rags and never practiced before. Hum ye rag bajayenge. Say Charukeshi. Now, where Marwa, where Charukeshi? And Pandit ji would come prepared sitar tune, as every rag, you have to tune differently the string instruments. It's not like flute. We have to, there's so many strings, we have to tune according to the rag, the swars of the notes of the rag. He would change last minute. So he would take few minutes and, just to change over.
Tune his...
He doesn't even know what rag it is. So how do you accompany Pandit ji when Pandit ji knows and plays a rag which you have never heard of? This was the tricks he was playing on Shubho. And Shubho would be helpless. We are singing together. I know what song I am singing. You don't know. Let's sing together. How are you going to sing?
True.
There are no scripts. There are no notations here.
And he intentionally did it.
Of course. He didn't tell him till last moment which rag he is going to play. You could have played Marwa or whatever rag it was. Marwa is just the name I'm telling. So that he kept doing this.
And Shubho also switched from sitar to become a commercial artist.
Kamla and Pandit ji told her, Dekho, everybody is, the journalists and all are criticizing you. Naturally, he's going to criticize you. He doesn't even know the rag and suddenly on the stage with Pandit ji, not even, some novice. So they say, ye to nahi ho raha hai. Now you better make your career in commercial artist. He was a JJ School of Art, he was a graduate from JJ School of Arts. But it was not easy. In USA, suddenly you go and start your own company. It was a disaster.
Why didn't Shubho come back?
Linda and 2 kids. He was already married, a foreigner, American, 2 kids in succession. It was almost आके करता था क्या? Even if we had come back to India, what would have done? Ma didn't have money, he didn't have money, and 2 kids and wife, they'd never seen India.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
Meaning,
Linda and his children had never
if you
seen
just come
India.
for a week for a tour, that doesn't mean you can adjust in India. It was not possible.
Then Shubho obviously went away in 1992. I mean, the world lost him forever in 1992. Till about 2000, even after losing Shubho, Ma remained silent. She did not speak a word. What was the trigger? Was it Panditji's biography Ragmala, in which he mentioned a lot of things? Or was it that interview with Paranjay Guha Thakur which he did on Doordarshan? What was the trigger that she broke her silence?
She didn't break her silence. It was us. You remember? How much we had to brainwash her that there are versions out of versions against her, all false by Panditji. There is not one word from
True.
Baba, Ali Akbar Khan, Ma, Shubho, Ashishta, nobody. There is no version, authentic version of her side of the story. It took us a lot of time to convince her. And the reply to all this, not only Ragmala, not only this interview on CNBC, but our version of the story was Enigma of a Recluse. That's the
Correct.
You can call it an article. It was not a interview. And who would publish it? So, all her disciples, we 2 idiots were the only ones who wanted to take the risk and take panga with Panditji. So,
But for a good cause, because the world needed to know
what
that.
did I care? I'm not a star. What Panditji मेरा क्या बिगाड़ लेते थे? But he could have harmed him. So I convinced Ma that Ma, ये तो star, नहीं ये तो इसका career है. I am just doing my hobby. Nothing is at stake for me. आप इनको रहने दीजिए, मेरे नाम पे allow कीजिए publish करने को. And Ma was immediately said, yes, I very much understand your loyalty towards me, but let Atul do it. And I did it. Now the problem was people say कि तो अतुल ने लिखा, माँ का version क्या है? Okay.
True.
Then very soon, maybe in few months, I'm not sure the time now, I don't remember.
The Times of India.
The only interview she had given at that point in time was published by me again. Again, I want to safeguard him or, nobody else had the guts. I got a lot of phone calls of threat. That interview was a bombshell. वो तो फिर बहुत ही धमाल हो गया. It was...
And that's when she came out, and first time people
That was
heard
the
her
first time,
version.
for the first time. And then after that, she was on a deathbed. So she was not in a, right frame of mind. But we are lucky that Tathagat Ray took the interview.
Tathagar, he took an interview for the Times of India.
I am happy. I am not jealous. But it was a good interview.
Yeah.
And I wanted to take it, but my never allowed Tathagat Ray. So
Yeah, but in the interview that which was published, which you published rather.
I wanted to videograph her. I wanted to record her. She never
Yeah.
allowed me.
But coming to the interview which she actually came up for the first time in 2000, in which she actually said कि Pandit ji has become a pathological liar.
Yes,
Or he has lost his sense of propriety.
that's right.
Right? She actually said that.
She said that.
And for somebody who has been silent for so many years, she must be really burning inside to actually tell that to the public.
She was very angry because he said a lot of things about Shubho and the Ma.
Yeah.
So you can't, a mother,
Yeah.
you are challenging a motherhood. I'm married. I have a son. If I tell anything to my son, he doesn't feel bad. But the mother is very angry. How can you tell this to your son? Meaning, try to understand. So, that time Shubho had died. Meaning, she was already,
Yeah.
So, that pain, it came out in that kind of a passive anger.
Yeah. And I mean, she lost almost everything. She gave up her career. She gave up her I mean, she was such a talented musician. She gave that up. Her husband left her.
Everything.
Her son was almost taken away from her, and who met with such a tragic end. So she actually had nothing left from that point of time, from that point of view.
Forget that she had no money.
Yeah.
She was, not in good health. She didn't even have a medical help to improve her health. Because she was all alone. She wouldn't go to doctor. She wouldn't leave the house. This is where Professor Pandya played a very good role in her life. Actually, he saved her.
Saved her. And Professor Rushi Pandya was sent to her by Ali Akbar Khan from Berkeley.
Professor Pandya was in Canada, first USA, then Canada, and he used to go from Montreal to San Rafael to learn sitar from Ali Akbar Khan sahab. Then suddenly he got a contract with Indo-American Society for his lecture series. And he told Khan Sahib, I can't come anymore because there's a vacation, long vacation in Canadian universities. I go to India for my lecture series and make some money. So, okay, you're going to where? To Bombay, nowhere else. Indo-American Society, Bombay. How many lectures you do? He wrote a note, go to my बहन के पास जाओ, वहाँ सीखो और उसका ख्याल रखो. That's how he entered.
When we were just discussing a couple of minutes ago about the financial constraints that she went to, at one point of time, I think there's an incident which is mentioned when Ustad Danish Khan came to her house and there was not a grain of rice or any food anywhere in her house.
Not even tea. Not even tea or milk. एक चाय बनाने के लिए कुछ सामान नहीं था.
And even at that dire, because at that point of time, I think Pandit Ji, the monies that were coming from him were pretty irregular, and also the amount of money was not enough for her to basically run a house. Even at that point of time, she did not take a single penny from any of her disciples.
No. Not even Hariji. Think about it.
In that she went so weak. For a week she had not eaten anything. And that time Anant Ramji, her very faithful disciple, and Dr. Lalita Rao used to visit her. And one afternoon they came, rang the bell, Ma came to answer the door, and she fell down unconscious. Her leg in between her body and this thing. And these people were shouting from outside, Ma, Ma karke. And they saw from the postal window that she was falling unconscious on the floor. Then tried to shout very loudly, and then after 15 minutes she got a consciousness back. And then she realized that she cannot get up because her leg was fractured.
Oh.
And she just moving on this thing.
She crawled and opened the door. And Dr. Lalita Rao was a doctor. She was a
minister also that time.
Minister of Health, Maharashtra. So she was a doctor. And
so she arranged
managed.
for a doctor, orthopedic doctor, and X-ray machine to come, and then
here. X-ray machine was brought
to
here.
this house.
Plastering was done here. She refused to leave her house. That meaning that recluse she was.
Yeah, but like at some point of time we were discussing about NCPA being in the same building, and she did
She
teach.
used to go down.
Yeah, she used to go down and
I
teach.
think it was this is 6th floor. That is 4th floor. I forgot which floor. And she used to just climb down, teach, and come back. That was a source of income.
no,
and
even after
then it shifted to NCPA, and her income stopped.
no, she went there.
So Narayan Menon arranged, that she come to NCPA, and she would go twice a week, Monday and Thursday if I'm not wrong. Monday for sitar, other day for sarod, and she used to teach and come back.
And I mean, before Ali Akbar Khan sent Roshi ji, I mean, it might have been his way of looking after her, or sending somebody who would go and talk to her, because I think he also offered her a number of times to go to Berkeley, but she refused to move out of the house.
Ali Akbar Khan Sahib understood the problem. Only solution he could offer, tum yahan chali aao, come here. The way he used to teach in Calcutta, Ali Akbar Khan College of Music,
School of Music,
you do it here. It's a nice place, you'll be peaceful and no financial constraints and all that. She refused. She didn't want to leave. For whatever reason, she refused. We don't know why. I wish she had gone, but she refused.
Did she have a passport?
No.
Yeah, she had a passport
Meaning,
later.
passport was made, but never used.
How did Ali Akbar Khan take to this separation? Because he was very close to Panditji. Did it affect his relationship with
You have to
Panditji?
understand Ali Akbar Khan's psyche. He had 3 wives and 11 children.
Yeah.
Now
true.
think about this. He was always in shortage of money, financial constraints. He would borrow. I don't know why he wanted to borrow, but he would borrow money and then pay very heavy interest. I don't know. He did. None of them knew. None of them. Not a single person we have talked here except Hari Prasad ji. Hari ji is a different thing, but not a single student I have met here who understand finance. Not even him. Nobody. Now, they are different people.
Yeah. Yeah.
We are not like them. They are not like us.
True.
What would have done? Meaning, and he had too many problems.
And
He was a
actually,
careless person. He was a
lying with
very
Pandit
carefree.
ji, the
He was-
Jugalbandi would fetch a lot of money for honorary.
A lot of people say, despite all this, why he kept playing Jugalbandi with Pandit ji, उनकी बहन के साथ इतना बुरा किया.
Yeah.
See, Khan Sahib was in constraint of money, and it was the highest paid artist if they were together. More than Pandit ji
I mean,
would
the
get for
Jugalbandi
solo.
was the highest.
Ali Akbar Khan Sahib had say X amount of fees. Pandit ji had Y. This is X plus Y plus.
Plus something more.
If they would
Play together.
Jugalbandi. That's the reason they played. Lot of money. Meaning much more than a solo this thing. For whatever reason. People love Jugalbandi.
Yeah. And they were, their pairing was amazing.
Believe me.
It was a brilliant pairing.
Not one Jugalbandi in the entire history of Indian classical music, meaning our generation, we don't know what happened before, the recorded generation was that caliber.
True.
None.
Absolutely. Yeah.
None.
I mean,
Nikhil Banerjee, Ali Akbar Khan, good Jugalbandi, but still वो जो पंडित जी खान साहब की जो बात थी वो तो कुछ और ही थी.
Because they also
how do you
had a-
rate it? Huh?
because they also were together in Maihar when they were learning. They formed
Best friend.
they
Ali
formed
Akbar
a
Khan
friendship.
Sahib had
Yeah.
only one intimate friend in his life, Pandit Ravi Shankar. That's it. None before, none after. Intimate relation, one to one. ऐसा तो बहुत लोग आते ही जाते हैं.
Yeah. Also, how did Baba take the separation?
Baba was not told. He was kept in dark.
Till how long?
But Baba was not stupid.
No, but when Panditji went and told Baba, Baba told him very blankly, if you think my daughter is
At
of this
fault.
character, you cut her into pieces and throw it in the river. I don't mind.
उसके टुकड़े टुकड़े करके गंगा में बहा दो. अगर मेरी बेटी में कोई भी है, मैं गारंटी दैट देयर इज नथिंग. She is flawless. But still, if you think, I am,
This is when that rumor was spread
Viman-
with Biman Ghosh, Panditji's very close friend.
Yeah.
So this is when Baba reacted that if
Yes.
that there's a rumor. A lot of our viewers have actually asked me this. Whenever they see documentaries, when Panditji go and meet Baba Allauddin Khan, obviously his Guru Bhakti is something even Ma has talked about many times. The Panditji used to go and do this Shashtang Pranam.
No, forget Shashtang Pranam. That's just, it's just a gesture, physical gesture. But Panditji's Guru Bhakti was impeccable. Meaning, माँ का तो चलो अपना बाप ही था ना. Her father.
Absolutely, yeah.
But this guy is an outsider. But whatever flaws, you can't. There was his Panditji's Guru Bhakti towards Baba was flawless. Meaning it surpassed any other disciple of Panditji, of Baba.
I'm sure because he was one of the very close disciples of Baba. And
No,
but I'm just trying to figure
for Baba,
out.
he was the eldest son. Ali Akbar Khan was second.
Yeah. So even after separation, you said that Baba came to know much later. When he came to know, did the relationship with Baba and Ravi Shankar stay same even after his knowledge?
No. First of all, Panditji, this is a wrong impression that Panditji was frequent visitor to Maihar. No. After leaving Maihar, meaning Baba, when he only few visits and all flying visits. Okay, so it was not as frequent as people may think. It looks in the it is just few hours, few minutes.
So after Baba heard, he was heartbroken. He was
Baba's health, nosedived. Baba lived long, but his health suffered a lot after this numerous traumas.
Ma went for these Baithaks, and that's when she came to know Indira Gandhi. I mean, for the DCM Bharat Ramji Baithaks, the Sangeet Baithaks that used to happen in Delhi.
After IPTA, so Baba got Panditji job in Delhi All India Radio as the director of music, meaning very respectful job. But where would he stay? Baba used to go to DCM, Bharatram, Charatram. In those days, they were, and even today, but in those days they were very, more prominent. They used to learn from Baba, especially Bharatramji's wife, if I'm not wrong. Vinay Bharatram's mother she was a good enough sitar player, meaning she was learning well from Baba. So Baba said, me coming and going and all that, why don't you learn from Ravi? So they agreed, why not? And they knew Ravi Shankar was already famous by that time. Famous meaning people knew his caliber. In case in Delhi only, they will teach you, they will take more turns and all that. They readily agreed. But he said, if you can somehow find an accommodation for him. So their guest house next to their bungalow, meaning in the same compound, Ma and Panditji were accommodated. And those were the days of Baithaks. Many musical Baithaks, the big bungalows and, so Dr. Karan Singh, Indira Gandhi, Bharatram Charatram, they all used to have frequent musical concerts. Again the same mistake. Panditji played duet with Ma.
It's not a mistake. They played a lot of Jugalbandis. From Panditji's point of view, it might have been a mistake. But for the audience, they loved Ma.
They loved it.
They loved Ma. Even Indira Gandhi loved Ma.
Indira Gandhi, during this time, became very friendly with Ma. Very friendly. They would to go, in that Trimurti, Nehru ji ka ghar ko Trimurti bolte the. Trimurti Bhavan. They used to go for a walk in the garden together. What they must be talking. Ma said, मेरे को politics में कुछ भी नहीं जानती थी. इंदिरा जी को संगीत से कुछ ज़्यादा लेना देना था नहीं. But yet we were friends and we used to take walks and spend time together. Amazing.
But one amazing thing about Ma, that she knew Indira Gandhi so intimately.
Yeah.
But not one word of favor.
Yeah. She never asked a single favor either from Nehru ji or Indira ji or Dr. Karan Singh or DCM Bharatram Charatram. No, she never asked favor from anybody in her entire life.
She starved here, but never asked for favor.
एक लेटर इंदिरा जी को लिखती थी, क्या नहीं हो सकता था. एक लेटर, एक phone call.
Forget the letter. Indira ji came to our house
she came
and offered her the Padma Bhushan.
Yes.
And asked her, what do you think of the emergency?
Yeah.
And Ma on her face told her, I don't understand much of politics, but what you did was wrong.
Yes. She told her on her face. During emergency, how many Indians had the guts to tell Indira ji on her face that what you have done is wrong? How many? That to a lady, a musician.
Absolutely. Rather, Indira Gandhi actually requested her to play in front of Yadu Menuhin and
before emergency. That was
before one of his visits to the country.
Yeah.
And also George Harrison of the Beatles came.
He came instead of
Yadu Menuhin.
तो माँ was said, ये कौन आ गया?
So basically, Indira Gandhi, Yehudi Menuhin, George Harrison, the world musicians all wanted to listen to her playing the Surbahar, right? And
George Harrison was smart. He didn't praise her too much in front of Pandit ji,
Pandit ji.
but he had written. Is on record.
Uh-huh.
I haven't heard such sound in my life. That's it. One line.
Yeah, I mean, I think when we discuss her music, we say that for her it was sadhana, and so her music was transcendental. She kind of transported you to a different world altogether.
When Nityanand asked, I very much remember that you're all alone, and when you play, you had asked, you remember, what is in your mind? Nothing. It's meditation, it's worship. I worship. This is my offering to Sharda Devi, Ma Sharda Devi.
I have read in the book and also I have read in other places that when she did her riyas or she did her sadhana, which is normally what used to be late in the night, right? Not during the day.
She used to do riyas. Timing क्या था उनका? 2:30 to 4:30.
2:30 to 4:30.
Okay. So when she used to do riyas, she used to be, I mean, there used to be such this ethereal fragrance which used to surround her or the room. I think you had mentioned one of these
In the book.
In the book.
No, it's not only fragrance. It's not consistently every time. It happens randomly. It used to happen to Baba.
In your book, you have written about a very interesting incident that once when you came back to drop a guest to Ma's house, which is this house, you got this sandalwood fragrance which was ethereal all around the house. Would you want to just talk about that incident a little bit?
Yeah, I would like to correct you. There was no guest. It was a luggage which I collected from someone coming from Canada, Rishi Bhai's belonging, and I came to deliver here.
Right.
And fortunately, Rushiji was also with me. So it was 30 kilo bag. So we both, wrestled with it and brought it here. That was around 4:30 in the morning, 4:30 a.m. And Rushiji had a latch key and we opened, and as we were struggling, just at that time, almost simultaneously, Ma's door, you see, open. Is just opposite of the main door.
Right.
Open. And I was aghast, it was some kind of a sandalwood kind of smell, And sandalwood smell, there is some burnt or wooden, undertone in it. But this fragrance didn't have that. So it was sandalwood, but without that oily and woody texture to it. And it was amazing. It was not coming from any direction, as if it was omnipresent. It
was all
coming
around.
from all direction. No matter where I went, it was equal. So very unlikely. Generally you go to agarbatti or something. You can.
Basically, there was no one particular source from which the fragrance was coming.
So that was amazing, and it was consistent and very sweet. So I asked Rushiji. He said, "Ask Ma." I asked Ma. She wouldn't reply. Me kya hai? She wouldn't reply. So Rushi ji said that कभी-कभी जब वो रियाज करके बाहर आती है तो ऐसा होता है कभी-कभी. I couldn't sleep that night. It was 4:30 already. I didn't go to office. I came here around 11:30 noon and I was after Ma. Ma just tell me what it was. Then she explained that when you are in a very high focus or high concentration playing music, there are a lot of such parapsychic experiences. Ma said this, and often, meaning many times, she would think that some girl or a lady is walking in a room. There is nobody here, as you see. Nobody around. She was living all alone and sitting next to her. But invariably, in red sari or white sari, and a lot of ornaments and well groomed. But say if you try to see her and look at her, she would vanish. So you have to keep doing what you are doing and feel her presence from the corner of eyes. If you try to look, she would go away, meaning the focus is gone, the concentration is gone. And many times someone is dancing along your tune, your jhala, you know,
So you can hear the sound of anklets.
anklets. झांझर घुंघरू बोलते हैं ना. So she was like, ये कहाँ से आवाज आ रही है, ये कहाँ से आवाज आ रही है, but there is nobody there, but it's constantly with her rhythm. So there are many, and she's not the only one. Lot of people in India especially have lot of parapsychic, paranormal experiences.
Yeah, I think there's also an experience which you were saying, the people tree, when the, I mean, it happened
Yes.
in Maihar many years ago.
There were so many trees in the garden. Only one tree would
Only
shake
people tree leaves were
violently
shaking.
and make noise, you know. And she wouldn't. She was not bothered. She was practicing, and other people would get scared.
No,
The
actually,
neighbors
Zubeda
and-
ji actually told
Zubeda
Baba
ji,
when she
yeah,
came back, when he
yeah.
came back
And
to
she
Maihar.
showed her माँ, मदीना माँ,
Yeah, yeah.
कि देखो ये हो रहा है.
Yeah.
तो she also saw कि कहा मैंने भी देखा है.
And Baba actually asked her to stop playing Malkosh for so
Baba
many hours.
knew it.
Because,
Baba knew it. Baba asked only one question: was anyone
Playing
playing
Malkosh.
Malkosh at that time? तो बोलता कि I don't know which rag, but she keeps playing.
Anu
Ask
plays.
her. तो बुलाया.
yeah, yeah.
In my absence, what were you practicing? तो say सुबह भैरव,
Raat ko Malkosh.
meaning evening Malkosh. For how many hours? She said 3 hours straight. तो उससे कि अभी तोड़ तोड़ के बजाओ, मालकोस छोड़ दो. तो कि नो इज माई फेवरेट राग, कि लोग डरते आते हैं. तो बाबा गेव माँ अनदर राग, कौशी भैरव.
Kaushi Bhairav. Yeah. How was her second marriage with Rishi Kumar Pandya?
That marriage was never really a marriage. The marriage, there are many in the history marriages which are never consummated. She made it very clear, Rishiji made it clear to all of us repeatedly. So there is no speculation. Rishiji's room was this, her room was that. It was strictly Guru Shishya. But according to her, her biggest mistake in life, Rishiji came when she was finished. Financially, emotionally, physically, her health was finished. Rishiji saved her. She was alive because of Rishiji. She lived for so many more years.
She also did an interview, Indian Express. She said that I would not have been able to teach my disciples for so
That's
long.
my interview.
Ah, okay.
Anyway, it's not mine, it is Ma's interview. There is no sense of belonging. But she was very grateful to Rishiji, and she was totally under his control.
Was she? I thought she
And
was a very strong
the
personality.
problem was she was not getting no, at that point in time she was, meaning she was just
Okay.
bedridden. So Pandit ji had broken with Kamla at that time, and he was not marrying with Sukanya ji,
Sukanya.
giving the excuse that Annapurna is not giving me divorce. So bigamy is a crime, and
Yeah.
I can't commit bigamy because of. So she said, "Okay, I want divorce." She asked for divorce and she gave divorce, meaning she demanded divorce. That was all good. Rishiji helped with everything. But Rishiji somehow talked her to take revenge by marrying again.
Okay.
And now I know, I just can't understand why someone as strong as Ma would fall for that. But Rishiji was a psychologist, hypnotist. Ma fell for it. Now that's the fact. We can't, fait accompli, we can't change that.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
she repeatedly told us marrying Ravi Shankar, Pandit Ravi Shankar, was Baba's biggest mistake, blunder, and marrying Rishiji was my biggest mistake.
I mean, we talk about the film Aviman being made on her story. But her story, actually, the real story that we are discussing today, is far more, what would I say? I mean, there's so many layers in that story of hers that we're just amazed, and it's so much for us to take in, that in that one life of hers, we can just, go through various stages of her life and so much depth and so much emotion and passion in that. I mean, I really have no words to kind of describe her life.
We are trying to make Abhiman 2 with more realistic.
How did Ma know Rishikesh Mukherjee?
At Pavlova, when Panditji and Ma were together, Panditji gave music in 2 films in those days, Godan and
Anuradha.
Anuradha. Anuradha was the producer and directed by Rishikesh Mukherjee. So Rishikesh Mukherjee used to come to Pavlova and visit. So Ma knew, Rishikesh Mukherjee knew Ma. Rishikesh Mukherjee himself was a sitar player, and his brother, Kailash Nath Mukherjee, something like that. He was a script writer of Rishiji, but he was a professional sitarist.
Who had met Ma in Calcutta when she was in the...
Yes. So initially, Rishikesh Mukherjee was introduced to Panditji and Ma by his brother Kailash Nath Mukherjee, something like that. And Rishikesh Mukherjee already knew Ma, already knew Panditji, and he could see what was happening in the house. And
Right.
see, they were the most talked about couple in those days. In
Yeah, I
those
mean,
days.
like we yesterday talked to the psychiatrist who is, Dr. Shed, Ashit Shed, who is basically, he has, and he kind of explained, we will take a few bites from...
let him explain that.
We will
It is
explain,
his
we will
forte.
use a little bit of that, and how he says it's very difficult, and it's the insecurity of an artist, it's so high that, it reaches a different
Guru
level.
Dutt, Gita Dutt, there's so many.
Guru Dutt and
so
Indira Dutt
many.
had a different story also. They had a triangle which was... anyhow, coming back to Ma Annapurna, both of you were students of hers, and she obviously had an illustrious lineage of students, and when we talk about Annapurna Devi, we always say that her music lives through her disciples, and each of them a maestro on their own, right? What was extraordinary about her teaching technique?
Her teaching was very, very different than other gurus. Because, like Baba, she taught everybody individually, depending on his nature, personality, and mindset. So, like Atura earlier mentioned, that she never taught same thing to the other student. Though you can listen to the 2 students same time, but you can find out that the difference, you can call it like, diversity in unity in diversity, that kind of thing. You can understand that he is a disciple of Ma, but he is different from what? What she taught me was different from what Hariji is playing today.
It was tailor-made according to the disciple's personality, his character, his capability,
And also maybe she didn't want 2 of her disciples to be copycat. There's some distinction which would be
if she wanted
in
to,
their
it
styles.
is humanly not possible. No 2 people are same. Asha Bhosle, Lata Mangeshkar, same house, same everything, sisters. They were quite different.
No, and then she was very strict about the purity of the ragas, and she would not compromise with the details of the
Yeah.
compositions and all that.
There are a lot of rumors, a lot of things floating at that point of time about Ma's temper.
Yeah. But I think after the marriage and she was settled nicely, I think she was tempered, never showed
Marriage
up.
to Rishi Kumar Pandya.
Yeah. And
No, I came exactly 3 days after, on the 3rd day of her marriage, the so-called registered marriage with Rishiji, and I never had any instance, I've never experienced any instance of her losing her temper.
I have seen her losing her temper.
Meaning, very
bad. Because when she was teaching, the relation between husband and wife was not there. It was Guru and Shishya.
Yeah.
And Rishiji made a mistake and she flared up so badly that she scolded him. Unless you do this, I will not teach you until you do this. And she did not teach him for 3 years.
Really?
Yeah.
Rishiji was not a natural musician.
Musician.
He thought that just because becoming her disciple, he can acquire the prowess. It doesn't happen that way.
Yeah.
But that's the only thing.
Only once you saw her lose a temper.
And second time I thought sometimes she was losing very bad temper with Bappa Amit Bhattacharya. But that was only when she was teaching. The moment that lesson is over,
Yeah.
she is a normal
It was
like a
just
mother.
a spontaneous,
Mother. She is a total mother.
Yeah, she cooked. She cooked for everyone.
yeah,
She
very-
ensured everybody
There's a-
had food when they came to the house.
It's
Nobody
compulsory.
will
It
ever
was
imagine
compulsory.
that the same lady was so furious.
Arey,
here
she
and
broke Tanpur on Hari Prasad Chaura's head.
She did.
She'd have written in the book.
Yeah. Right. Okay. So she did have a temper only when it came to
In the
her
music. it was
disciples making
limit-
mistakes.
In the, it was, focused
Restricted to
in
music, learning of music.
Or maybe other thing, other thing in life also must be, she must be losing temper, but nobody has seen it. At least I have not
Yeah,
seen it.
But she had interacted mostly with her disciples in this
Yeah.
house. She didn't have any
never
interface.
left. She never went out of this door.
So her
her
entire
only contact
universe
with
was
the
her
outer
disciples.
world is the intuition,
Yeah,
and the students.
Absolutely.
disciples.
She never interacted with anybody else.
No.
And maybe later
She wouldn't
stage her
pick up the
doctors.
phone because the phone thing, that
Yeah.
Nilofer,
Huh.
Rais Khan's sister, used to come and learn here. So there was a Gharana war. She used to get thread from both the Gharanas.
I know. Yeah. Coming to Nilofer, I mean, coming from the house of Pandit or Ustad Vilayat Khan, that she came to learn from.
Vilayat Khan's elder brother, who also trained Vilayat Khan. Don't forget that. Rais Khan has repeatedly said
Yeah.
that my father taught Vilayat Khan.
And coming from that gharana to Ma to learn music, that itself says so much about Ma, right?
She came to know Ma in the National Center of Performing Art, which was here. Now just understand Nilofer's tenacity. Heads off to the lady. She rented a small apartment here, much smaller room here. And she would learn here in the NCPA, and she convinced Ma to take private lessons here. She had a home, but yet she rented an apartment here.
And
She
apart
was
from
so
that,
focused.
One of my Guru Bhais, Hemant Desai, she recommended him to learn from Ma.
Hemant Desai.
He was the student of Ustad Muhammad Khan.
No, her father.
No?
Her father's student, she said, no, if you want to learn, go here. But
Ma,
then she used to get a lot of threats. A lot of people used to come here, bang and give galis. Here, bang the door and give a lot of galis and phone calls. So she stopped taking phone calls. A lot of hate mails, letters in those days, postcards without the address.
because Nilofer is to come here to.
It was stopped teaching Nilofer. And Nilofer used to get threats. So Ma said, look, I have nothing to lose, but you are a young, beautiful lady. Why you are spoiling your life? मैंने
Yeah,
इतना सिखाया प्रैक्टिस करो और learn from your घराना ये so she convinced Nilofer not to learn from her. Nilofer got married to some Gujarati, some Kotharis, but she was murdered.
Yeah, she was. Ma was very, I think she was very impressed if women could continue
Yes.
with their music after marriage. Right? And I think a few of her students also, she initially said that you will stop music after Shadi. What's the point in learning?
Each and every female disciple of her, their career, musical career, took nosedive after the most promising was Sudhir Phadke's sister, Sandhya Phadke. What a sitarist. After marriage, finished. Most of them. So, okay, our society is no more as male chauvinist as it was in 20s and 30s. But still, we are not totally out of it.
But she was in the 40s and 50s and 60s.
No, I'm talking about
Ma's.
Sandhya.
Yeah. Anything else that you would like to share? Any anecdote, anything about Ma that you would want to?
A lot of people say that you claim that Ma was the most learned of all Baba's disciple. Why? See, how many years Panditji learned from Baba? 7 years in Mayer, 1 year in Tour, 1 year in Almoda. 9 years, say 10 years. Ali Akbar Khan, 18 years. A little
Yeah.
less than 18 years, say 13 years. 18 years. But Ma, till Baba was alive, she kept learning from him. She never performed. She never toured. Most of the time, because of Panditji's problem, she spent in Mayer with Shubho. She learned maximum from Baba. If you put up the
Yeah, the
plain
number of
maths,
years and the
forget the
span.
quality, just plain maths.
Yeah. Yeah, so what you are trying to say is that Ma spent much more
Training
years,
hours.
much more years and much
Training
more
hours.
training hours with,
Yes.
with Baba Allauddin
Yes.
Khan, who himself was such an amazing musician.
When Nikhil Banerjee was in Mayer, Ma was there because of separation. Nikhil Banerjee was called once a week. बाकी सब तुम्हें इतना सब तैयार करके आओ, you know. But Ma every day, because Ma तो तैयार ही थी.
Yeah, right.
Every day for hours and hours.
I mean, thank you so much, Atul Merchantji, and thank you so much,
Thank you
Nityanandji,
so
for
much
Yeah,
taking
thank you
up
for
this,
see
Ma
our
glory
duty. Yes,
to the public.
Ma's version
yeah,
should be on record.
absolutely.
People believe or don't believe, that's not our our concern, but it should be on the record.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So to counter very wrong, lot of myths, lot of false narrations.
I
false
mean, when I
narrative.
started, the reason I did the podcast on Ma Annapurna was everybody knows Ravi Shankar. But what percentage of the people who knows Ravi Shankar knows about Annapurna ji's talent? To the very reason I started doing this podcast. And then after that, thankfully, thanks to the podcast, I came in connection with both of you. And I'm so blessed that I got to know both of you. I mean, it's really
Yeah,
blessed.
we are fortunate.
To know somebody who learned directly from Annapurna Devi is such a blessing. The reason was that nobody knows that the talent that she was, right? And through these episodes or through these interviews, if we can reach to the audience or a wider audience about the talent and the personality and the sadhak and the pure soul that Annapurna Devi was. I mean, you don't come across somebody like her, not anymore. Not that I've heard of in today's world. And there aren't too many of hers, even in the times that she lived. So this is such an inspiring story, yet such a tragic story. And thank you so much once again for joining us for this episode and as well as the earlier episodes. Thank you for joining the Pathbreakers. Thank you.